Hi everyone, welcome to Leisrealtalk. It's Christmas Eve, so first of all, Merry Christmas. In the spirit of the holidays, I hope tonight's program will serve as a good news to those who want to see the end of the regime, or those or who are suffering under CCP's tyranny. So the topic tonight is China the next Syria, or will Xi Jinping have a Syria moment? And apparently, according to some Chinese, he will. At the end of November, the Syrian civil war escalated and opposition forces launched a major offensive within 12 days, just 12 days, and without encountering much resistance from government troops. The opposition forces entered Damascus on December the 8th, forcing Assad to flee to Russia. The Assad regime, which had ruled for 54 years, collapsed in less than 2 weeks. Assad's downfall delivered a heavy blow to Beijing, not just because Beijing lost an old friend and an ally, but because the regime's swift disintegration and the military's lack of resistance to the opposition were shocking. Assad fled without notifying anyone of his plans. Just hours before his escape, he was holding meetings with his military leaders, assuring them of Russian reinforcements. He didn't even tell his own brother. Xi Jinping can certainly sympathize with Assad's predicament because both dictators face the grim reality of having no one they can truly trust. So the dramatic developments in Syria and Assad's fate have alarmed the CCP leadership. The Chinese regime, which has ruled for decades, finds itself in a similarly precarious position. Xi Jinping faces a loyalty crisis in the military, which we will discuss. Recently, a viral article captured widespread attention. It claims that CCP's Central Military Commission is deeply concerned, and the article states that if even one battalion of troops were to mutiny, China could quickly face a Syria moment. So tonight, I will first discuss the letter that argued the parallels between China and Syria. And then I will answer the question, can the rebellion of a single battalion truly overthrow the CCP? I will share a historical anecdote. Last but not least, I will talk about Xi Jinping's loyalty crisis within the military. So the post titled, let's see this, maybe I'll not. Here's the post. So the post titled, it said, Military Commission, one battalion and mainland China becomes Syria. It first appeared on X on December 18th, and it was posted by a user known as Old Driver, 老司机. The article began by declaring that the author wasn't the one who came up with the caption. The claim, if one battalion mutinize, mainland China would become like Syria. This claim came from the Central Military Commission, and it demonstrates the extent of panic within the CCP leadership. It doesn't matter whether, I think, we can't verify if that actually did come from the CMC, but it doesn't matter because the fact that this post is spreading, is widely discussed among the Chinese, that's what matters, because the CMC will not have the chances for CMC members to stage a mutiny against Xi is very small. But what matters is the people. If the public is discussing this, then that's what matters. So the author of the post believes that it doesn't even need to take a battalion to overthrow the regime. The author believes a platoon would do it. Well, the long article gave detailed analysis of extreme social tensions across China. And actually, let me just make this smaller. I provided the link to the original article So if you're interested, you can read it. It's quite long. Excuse me. So it reads, a few blank sheets of paper, a few bicycles, a few disgruntled citizens, a few copies of the Quran, a few influencers, a few frustrated bank customers, or a few banquet gatherings could get on the nerves of the Chinese leader. The entire country is like a set of dried weeds waiting for a single spark to ignite. Now, here, a few blank sheets of paper refer to the white paper movement. A few bicycles refer to the student night ride in Zhengzhou. A few copies of the Quran refer to the recent detainment of a Muslim religious leader in Yunnan. So the author is right. I mean, all of these have gotten on the nerves of the Chinese leader, and the entire country is like is sitting on a power keg. So I summarized this long article into two main points that support the author's claim that China can step into a Syria moment. And the first point has to do with the state of the Chinese PLA. It stated that the military servicemen are on the verge of a rebellion. Currently, mobilizing a single platoon requires approval from the CMC. Even hosting a wedding banquet requires prior approval. The reason? To prevent a Syria moment from coming to China. This basically tells everyone that a few platoons of troops could initiate a Syrian-style revolution. And this is what the authorities and Xi Jinping fear. Chinese servicemen are not allowed to carry firearms in normal times. If they have access to weapons and firearms, a revolution will begin. The author compared Syrian military to the Chinese PLA and called their situation similar. Syrian military and police are poor. Most people join the military just to make a living, to have a job. Similarly, in the PLA, most servicemen don't have good income. Senior officers may get a good government job after retirement, but most servicemen don't have that chance. That's why they are motivated to make some extra money while in service, and that's the root cause of military corruption. As the anti-corruption investigation as the anti-corruption waves crash down on people, many want to be discharged and to get out. And that's the situation. The author said that's the situation currently in the Rocket Force and in the Navy. So the Post said, isn't it a joke that such a military can fight in wars? It says the two defense ministers, meaning Li Shangfu and Wei Fenghe, still had a conscience and spoke the truth about military operations against Taiwan. Seeing their fate, no one dares to say anything now. Recently, it went on to say, recently the PLA has increased frequency in practicing drills of blockading Taiwan. The possibility of PLA attacking Taiwan is very small. The author claims that the exercises, the military drills are designed for Xi Jinping to identify or expose those in the military who are thinking about a mutiny, right? Because their chance is during military exercises. So anyone exhibit any extraordinary moves or any extraordinary activities will be caught. But the author said that, but people are smart. They're not revealing themselves. And the second point of the Post is the lack of confidence people have in the government and the collapse of CCP's overall credibility. Currently, every aspect of CCP's governance relies on police and security forces to maintain order. People are told to take pay cuts, and in some areas, even police officers aren't paid. So when police joined forces with petitioners to ask for their back pay, CCP's credibility has completely bankrupted. The bank's endless methods of obstructing people from withdrawing money indicates banks are running out of money. The strict measures preventing companies and individuals from sending capitals overseas means that the country is bankrupt. Throughout China, passports of civil servants and even teachers have been confiscated, preventing them from leaving the country. So he asked the question, when everyone is thinking about leaving, how can the leader not think about the same thing? Although he won't leave, but the point is, when everyone is thinking about leaving, how can the leader not realize his own fate? The author claims that Xi Jinping is afraid to leave Zhongnanhai before his recent visit to Macau. Everything within 2-kilometer radius, or everything within the radius of 2 kilometers where he stays was thoroughly checked. And aside from fearing the public, Xi Jinping fears two-faced officials the most. But after sacking 2.5 million officials during the past 12 years, he has basically turned almost everyone against him. The author said the current situation in China is very similar to Syria, where nobody would defend the regime if an opposition rises up. And it will only take a matter of few weeks before all of China will be liberated, according to the author. And this could possibly take place in the year of the snake, which begins on January 29th, 2025. So that's pretty much what the letter says, or the post said. So here's the question. Will a PLA platoon or battalion, or is a PLA platoon or battalion enough to start a rebellion or revolt that will end the CCP regime? And the question, the subsequent questions, will Xi Jinping have a Syria moment? Well, let's compare China to Syria. Syria is a much smaller country. That's about 180,000 square kilometers with a population of 23 million. So it has about the same population as Australia, but Australia is 40 times the size of Syria. Similar to China, Syria is quite densely populated, but China is much bigger in size and population. So that's why people ask the question, will a rebellion of a platoon cause the collapse of the CCP regime? I can't answer that question directly, but my answer is it has happened historically. There is a precedence. That's the 1911 Chinese Revolution, or the Xinhai Revolution. Excuse me, let me just take a sip of water. Sorry. Okay, I feel hydrated. Okay, so let's talk about the Xinhai Revolution. The start of the revolution, the start of the 1911 revolution was the Wuchang Uprising on October 10th, 1911, which was the turning event that ultimately ended the last dynasty of China's imperial history, the Qing dynasty, and started the Republic of China, lasting to this day in Taiwan. The event that triggered the uprising seemed a bit dramatic and random, and it involved a platoon leader and a squad leader. So this is what happened. A platoon leader in the 8th Battalion of the 8th Regiment of the Qing Dynasty Army, and by the name of Tao, was conducting a night inspection on October 10th, 1911. He saw a squad leader and a soldier sleeping on their backs, holding a rifle with a box of bullets next to them. So the platoon leader slapped one of them sleep, and asked, "Why are you sleeping with weapons on you? Are you plotting rebellion?" Because the city has been put under curfew, as the rumor had it that the revolutionaries were going to organize a rebellion. So the person who was slapped while sleeping got angry and replied, "Rebellion? Yes, rebellion." He then fought back, and the two men began wrestling. The platoon leader, being more skilled in combat, subdued his opponent. However, he couldn't win a 2-1 fight, as the other soldier opened fire and shot him from behind. And that was the first shot of the Wuchang Revolution, or the Wuchang Uprising. So it's that shot, started this uprising. So hearing the commotion and the gunshot, a few officers of the Qing army came over to suppress the chaos. They were successively shot at. The camp then descended into chaos. At this moment, the leader of the revolutionaries, who was a squad leader, a different squad leader, not the one who got into a fight with the platoon leader, who was a squad leader in the 8th Regiment in the Qing army, at that moment blew a whistle to gather his troops, meaning all the revolutionaries, and officially declared that they were revolting. And that started the Wuchang Uprising, which ultimately ended the Qing dynasty. And prior to that point, prior to the Wuchang Uprising, the revolutionaries had tried a dozen of revolts, but had failed. This time they succeeded. But the uprising wasn't a top-down movement or organization. It started at the platoon and squad level. But many of the servicemen in the Qing army were against the Qing emperor and supportive of the revolutionaries. Even the viceroy of Hubei and Hunan, basically the governor in Hubei and Hunan, didn't resist the revolutionaries. He fled to Shanghai. So the situation is very similar to the current China, where everyone is ready to overthrow the regime or the government, and there's no resistance. And it happened at the very grassroots level, and that's why the Chinese believe that if a platoon uprises, it can topple the CCP regime. By the way, the day the Wuchang Uprising took place, October 10th, is ROC's National Day. It's October the 10th. So now let's talk about Xi Jinping's loyalty crisis in the military, because this is the ultimate reason why he fears that a mutiny of some sort could be his destiny. So let's talk about what happened yesterday. So December 23rd, the CCP Central Military Commission held a ceremony to promote Chen to the rank of general. Do I have a picture of him? Yes, I do. I know there will be a lot of Chinese names, so this is the long articles. I try to give you a screenshot, but you can read the Chinese from the link. So here's the promotion. Here's the promotion of General Chen Hui that took place yesterday. So General Chen was the first political commissar of the military aerospace forces, and he's now promoted to be the political commissar of the army. Xi Jinping hosted the ceremony with the other 4 members of CMC. By the way, it's a 5-member commission now because Miao Hua and Li Shangfu's positions are still vacant. So based on the video footage from CCTV news, Xi Jinping appeared gloomy throughout the ceremony. Here's a picture of him. Yeah, here's a picture of him. And on the right is General Chen, the general who was promoted yesterday. And he was promoted to replace the political commissar of the army, General Qin Shutong on the left. So, but what's strange, if you study the footage and the official announcement of the ceremony, we notice two problems. First is that the current, or now we should say the political commissar of the army, General Qin Shutong, his whereabouts is not known. There's no information, no mentioning about what happened to him in any of the official statements. And also, people noticed that 4 generals were missing from the ceremony. Because the ceremony was attended by all the members of the CMC and all the generals, as opposed to the major generals and lieutenant generals. The generals sat in the front rows, so the people studied the footage and noticed that 4 generals were missing. Well, the first one is Qin Shutong, right? The former political commissar of the army. He was missing. And then the army commander, Li Qiaoming, was also missing. The Navy's political commissar, Yuan Huazhi, was missing. And the armed police commander, Wang Chunning, were missing. So here's the picture of 4 of them. Here are the 4 guys who were missing from yesterday's promotion. Now, this is the 4 missing generals are all members of the 20th Central Committee of the CCP. The CCP Central Committee are considered the highest governing body of the party. It has about 200 members and some alternate members. So, and by the way, all the hundreds of members of the Central Committee were personally vetted by Xi Jinping himself. And also, secondly, this is not the first time they're missing from important events. And in early September, multiple overseas social media sources claimed that General Qin Shutong, then political commissar of the army, was under investigation. I even mentioned that in one of my live streams. And by October, Qin and the 63-year-old Navy political commissar, Yuan Huazhi, were both found to have missed an important provincial and ministerial level conference. So that's when the rumors started, saying that they were in trouble. And then on November 21st, the National Public Security System, the CCP's National Public Security apparatus, held a meeting, a video conference, during which the armed police commander, Wang Chunning, was absent. Subsequently, online rumors surfaced that Wang Chunning was under investigation. Most recently, Army's commander, Li Qiaoming, who previously served as the commander of the Northern Theater, was rumored to have been dismissed on December 18th, following the downfall of Miaohua. It was said that General Li has been dismissed from his position because he's implicated in Miaohua's case. Now, all 4 absent military leaders were promoted to the rank of general during the time when Admiral Miao was the director of the CMC's political work department. So now, if these 4 generals are in trouble, that's not a good sign. That means the CCP, the PLA's leadership team is falling apart. Last year, a corruption scandal erupted within the rocket force, leading to the downfall of dozens of high-ranking officers, including 2 former defense ministers. One former defense minister and 1 current, right? Li Shangfu and Wei Fenghe. 2 former commanders. One at the time, the current commander of the rocket force, Li Yuchao, and 1 former commander of the rocket force, Zhou Yaning, and the former Air Force commander, Ding Laihang. So we've already seen the downfall of 5 generals. And this year, the CMC member and director of the political work department, Miao Hua, was taken down. So now, on top of that, if the commander of the army, the commander of the armed police, the political commissar of the army, and the political commissar of the navy are all sacked, that means 10 of the PLA's highest ranking generals have fallen in the past year. And this not only has severely diminished Xi Jinping's authority in the military, but has also created a sense of panic, resentment, or anger throughout the PLA. And so this is precisely why people say that Xi Jinping fears an Assad moment or Syria moment. Assad's collapse is a chilling mirror of Xi Jinping's vulnerability, right? And whispers of mutinies that we hear now can be turned into a reality and seriously create a China's Syria moment. So that's all I have regarding the question if China will be the next Syria or if China will have a Syria moment. Now, this is what I think. I think Xi Jinping's situation right now does not look very good. I think his let me come back. It doesn't look good for him at all. The fact that we've seen so many PLA leaders, falling down, it does not look good. I think if he runs into health issues and steps down, he's lucky. That will save his face. But if he stubbornly tries to hold on to power, things can turn very ugly on him. So that's all I will say on this Christmas Eve. I hope this is good news, somewhat good news for you. All right, let's see. Oh, I see David Lopan is back. Welcome back, David. Let's see. Questions? No questions? Okay, I don't see any questions. Good. All right. She looks run down. If you watch that video, the person, the general that he promoted, Chen Hui, some people say that he belongs to Hu Jintao's faction. I don't know. I have not got time to verify that. But people say General Chen is definitely not Xi Jinping's ally. Actually, the military troop where he's from, the aerospace force that he came from, recently published an article that demanded group leadership, that demanded certain level of democracy within the military. It published an article that's highly critical of Xi Jinping without mentioning his name. So he basically Xi Jinping was forced to promote someone whose military service recently published an article that was critical of Xi Jinping. So he was not happy at all. That's another sign that he has lost power in the military. Okay, that's all. Chris forwarded me a question from Dutchy. Have you any ideas? Where did it go? Have you any ideas why they want Xi out? Can you expound, or why do they want Xi out? Well, first of all, he has, during the 12 years that he was in power, he has punished 2.5 million officials. So he has established many enemies in the system. And even those who have not been directly punished by him saw, the way the Chinese economy is, the way the country is heading, right? The economy has, he has basically, his leftist policy has killed China's economic prospect, or any economic prospect of China. So everything he does, people say he has this magic touch. Anything he touches becomes destroyed. So whether people are against him or not against him, people are against his policies or against anything he does. And that's why it's, people want him out. Of course, everyone wants him out, but everyone's agenda is different. Some people truly want to have a democratic China. Some people want revenge. Some people want another leader, somebody want to preserve the CCP's legacy and want the system, the red regime, to continue, but they want to have, somebody who is probably a little bit more open-minded than Xi Jinping. So everyone's agenda is different, but everyone is opposing him. That's his predicament. Is CCP clamping down on Christmas again this year? Yes, they have. Instead of calling, CCP is trying to start the narratives to turn December 24th as a day that signifies the victory during the Korean War, because December 24th was the day of the Changjinghu battle. There was a battle where the Battle of the Changjing Lake. I don't know how do you say that in English, but it was actually the CCP didn't win. The PLA didn't win. The CCP 2 years ago made a movie about the Battle of the Changjing Lake, where battalions of the PLA soldiers were frozen to death because of the low temperature and their lack of winter gears. But the CCP is trying to decorate December 24th as a battlefield victory day against the Americans. The CCP is trying to have the Chinese people remember December 24th as the victory day during the Korean War against the Americans. Yeah, that's happening. Oh. Moonwalker, my only comment is to wish you a Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Living free from CCP is the best Christmas gift one could ever receive. Yeah, the Chinese seem to firmly believe that in the year of the snake, which is 2025, things will happen. So something big will happen. Let's hope that's true. Okay. Scipio africanus. Well, thank you. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you. Brett, how many fear can the Chinese people endure before they decide to try a new way? The people are key. Quantity. Quantity has its own quality. How much fear can the Chinese people? They have been brainwashed. So they don't realize that they have fear. When you have been brainwashed, then you develop this Stockholm syndrome that you they have more or less the Stockholm syndrome where they blindly believing the aggressor. So they don't realize that they have a fear. It's already subconscious to them. Okay. Bob H. What's the chosen reservoir? Wasn't a CCP victory at all? I'm not sure if that question is addressed to me. Okay. Seek the truth. Lei. A lot of CCP Wu Mao harp on the 1.6 billion the US has approved to counter CCP propaganda. It is a drop in the bucket as to what the CCP spends. Anywhere I can get their costs? You mean get the US budget of, you want to get a piece of the 1.6 billion? I don't know what you can do with $1.6 billion to counter CCP propaganda. Yeah, I agree. It's a very small drop. All right, let's see. Okay. Dachi, do you sense a feeling of strength in the relationship with Russia? People, PLA? Feeling of strength in their relationship. You mean the Chinese relationship with Russia? Oh, that's a big subject in itself. The Chinese have very complex relations with the Russians. And even Xi Jinping's relations with Putin is very complex. Yeah. Anyway. All right, let's see. Oh, here's a question. Seek the truth. No, I understand the 1.6 billion. Where can I get CCP's propaganda spending, i.e. United Front work? You want to take their money? Well, I don't know. Talk to someone in the Chinese community. And I think the money, the Chinese communities in the US, I mean, the CCP has big influence over there. A lot of their money is spent over there. So, talk to people over there. And also the CCP is buying a lot of the Western influencers. They're buying. I get emails from, I think, somebody who works for the CCP saying that they're offering you a free trip to go to China. And then all you have to do is, I think, say something about their programs. I mean, all of this is their influence campaign. Here's a good question, Brett. How do we as a free society encourage the Chinese people to push past the indoctrination? It scares me that the mind of the American people cannot help break these chains. Well, you could talk to the Chinese Americans in this country. There are many Chinese immigrants who live in the United States who rely on Chinese source, who rely on WeChat and Chinese sources for information. They don't necessarily understand the United States or American society. They're still heavily influenced by CCP's propaganda, even though they live in the US. And these people are still subject to brainwashing coming from Beijing. So I think, since we can't go to China, I think you should work, I don't know what kind of work you could do, maybe participate some events. I mean, you'll be surprised how much control and influence the CCP has in the Chinese American communities here, like in Chinatown. You'll be surprised. Like, you'll be surprised that like Falun Gong, Falun Gong organizations has the best marching band, they have the best costume, they have the most people, They have the best floats, but they're rejected by the Chinatown Parade in Manhattan. And this parade is attended by Chuck Schumer, Kathy, what's her last name? I forgot. The New York governor. I mean, all the New York dignitaries attend this Chinatown Parade. But Falun Gong and I think Tibetans, maybe Taiwanese organizations are not welcomed at this Chinatown Parade. And it is a community event, and local TV networks in Manhattan cover this event as the official celebration of Lunar New Year in Manhattan. However, it's heavily controlled by the CCP. It does not represent the dissident groups, which is a large representation of groups, people from Taiwan, people from Tibet, people who meditate. So, but we're oblivious of this kind of influence that's happening right here in the U.S. So if you have the will and the time, I would say work with the Chinese communities and observe. You'll see. You'll see CCP operatives operating there. Where can I find CCP propaganda budget numbers? It's not easy. They're not going to tell you how much money they're going to spend. I don't think anyone can clearly say, I don't think anyone can clearly give a total number pinpointing CCP's propaganda budget. Okay. Here's a question from Jay Young. Who is easier to take out or has more trouble, Putin or Xi? I think Xi is more difficult to take out. Okay. Jeff Ramos, 3 Gorge Dam can be used as a military target in a war. The Russian targeted one in Ukraine, or the dam will collapse on their own. It is true that the 3 Gorge Dam can be used as a target, but it will wipe out so many people. I made a video talking about the impact of the collapse of the dam. It will be devastating to the Chinese nation. There will be so many people, so many towns and cities completely submerged. Even the last city on the downstream, Shanghai, is at the very end of the Yangtze River, right, where it enters the sea. Even the water level in Shanghai would be elevated. I don't remember the number, but quite substantially, meaning that a lot of the areas in Shanghai would be submerged. So just imagine how many lives would be taken out, would be wiped out. It will be devastating. Okay. That's all. That seems to be all the questions. I don't want to keep it too long because it's Christmas Eve. And I thank you for joining me. Cola BBHS. I know I'll get this question. Which country can Xi take refuge if he were deposed? I don't think there's any country he can run to. Russia? I mean, Putin may take him, but he doesn't want to go to Russia. I don't think Xi Jinping is the type of person who can live in a foreign country for the rest of his life. I do not think so. He will be miserable. So I do not think he will run away to another country. All right, that's all. Thank you. Merry Christmas. And I will see you later this week. Yeah, someone said Merry Christmas. Yes, Merry Christmas. Okay. All right. Bye. I'd better end now before Santa arrives. Okay. All right, bye.